morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. This is Dr. Sarah Renee Langley. And once again, just as always, so grateful to be before you as we talk about advancing in adversity. All month long, we're talking about tips, strategies, tools, techniques, what you can do to advance in adversity. Not trying to go through, over, in between, or not at all, but to absolutely advance right in it. So, was looking through and finding some things to talk about. Today, I really want to talk about, is 2020 your year? Do you still believe that this year is your year? I want to hear it. Tell me, how are you doing? Where are you from? How are you doing? And talk back to me. Is 2020 still your year? Because I would love to hear it. I got that off of someone's post earlier today. And to be honest with you, my attitude about it was, I don't know. But then after seeing a list of responses to my post, look, y'all cheered me up. You guys cheered me up. So I just want to know, is 2020 your year? How are you doing today? And let's talk about it. Because we have to make sure that we work together in helping one another advance in adversity. And for me, it was refreshing to see everyone posting about how this is their year and, still being hopeful, because that is one point and one part in strategy. How do you advance in? You have to stay positive, even in the midst of everything. I tell you the truth. I don't know about you today. I would usually ask you, rate your day. 1, if it was a great day. 2, if it was a so-so day. And if it was a so-so day, what did you learn? Because there's no such thing as winning and losing, but rather winning or learning. So if you didn't win today, what did you learn today? So tip for, that I want to share with you on what I've learned. I had a situation today that taught me about reaction versus responding. Reaction versus responding. And I tend to find at times that I could be rather reactive. It's like I'll react. After though, here's the issue. Here's the issue, y'all. After having a well laid out plan of action, I'm a planner, I'm an organizer, and I can map out every single detail to the nook and cranny. And then after all of that, I still react as if I never even created a plan. And that's what gets me. Who's like me? Don't be like me. So back to me, everyone. Hey, Burrell. Thank you for tuning in. Hey, Gloria. Nice to see you. Jerome, thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Really appreciate your time this day. So I just want to share with you that tip to help you to advance in adversity. Please think about responding as opposed to reacting. Everything has its time and its place. You have a time to react. You have a time to respond. And I think that from what I've learned today, for me, it was a matter of the discipline of if I map something out, I realize it's about believing in yourself. Do you believe in yourself enough in what you create, what you have a heart and a passion to do? Do you believe that it's going to work? How will you know unless you actually just try it? But have a plan of action, have a strategy before you just jump out there. And again, it all depends on what it is. Sometimes it may take a reaction, but at the same time, it may take a response first, as opposed to reacting so quickly. And so I just say that to say, sometimes it does take a moment to stop and reflect. If we're talking about advancing in adversity, sometimes it does take a matter of just stopping and reflecting to check on yourself, to check on your mental health, to check on your self-care, to check on how you're thinking and how you are feeling in the moment. We talked about that extensively in regards to being able to not only just acknowledge how you're feeling, because we could all collectively say, we're exhausted, we're tired, we're happy, we're mad, we're sad. But what does that mean individually? What does that mean for yourself? I had a session today. I had to, we brought it to a close in our time together. And we kind of reflect on our time and working together for the months that we have. And we talked about, what's next steps. And in that next steps, it was just a matter of being able to look back on everything that we discussed and what are your takeaways. For you to advance in adversity, look at all that has happened, where you are. And I'm talking about, dang, from Kobe to COVID, from COVID to pandemic and sheltered in place, and, everything shutting down, and jobs being lost, and loved ones being lost. And then, seemingly between there, the protest, and, or the racial inequality and the tension, and, the killings and the murder, and reopening. What came up for you in all of this? How do you advance in adversity? You have to find out, how is this impacting you? And sharing with the person that I was bringing closure, or bringing to a close in our time together, in our sessions together, all I told that person was, think of two things to ask yourself. And I'm asking this to you all to think in your time of reflection. What is all of this saying to you in terms of who you want to become during this time and after this time? That's one question. Who do you want to become during this time and after this time? And then the second question is, how is this all serving you? In other words, what is the life lesson? What is the life lesson that you're getting every single day, moment to moment, situation to situation? What are you doing? Like, what are you looking to have this serve you? How do you want this to play out in the end? Which is the other takeaway that I learned today, Jessica, and I thank you for tuning in. I learned that it's not just about today for the moment. It is about, what do we do today that we can be unapologetic about tomorrow? What decisions do we make today? How are we today? And what do we do today that determines our tomorrow, pretty much? How I want tomorrow to look like, we can dictate that. We absolutely can, as opposed to thinking that we can't. It's all based on the decision that we make. Whatever we made today, where we are today was based on the decision that we made yesterday, the day before, a year before. Where we are today is based on a collective of things that we have decided prior to. And that's why we're where we are today. So we want to shape our own history. If we want to shape how we want our tomorrow to be, then pay attention to who you are, how you're feeling, how you're thinking. Ask yourself those questions. What are these feelings telling me? Who am I becoming during and after all of this? How is this serving me? Sometimes we have to ask those questions to ourselves. Now, you don't have to tell me that you talk back to yourself. If you ask the question to yourself and then you're answering back, because I don't want to have to, as always, I don't want to have to 302 you, or, commit you. All right. So don't incriminate yourself. But, it's okay. If you do find yourself talking to yourself, it's all right. I'll let it slide this time. Now, Burrell has said, oddly for me, 2020 so far has been better than 2019, January to June. I'm not surprised. That was the thing when I saw everyone's post today. And I thank you all for just being so engaging and just responding, because this is a back and forth. This is a dialogue. This is, engagement. When doing this program, this series, it is about, for me, giving a contribution, making sure that I'm doing my part, as us all being, social media friends here, doing my part, setting the example, but also making a difference where I can with my gift. In turn, for you, what are you doing in terms of, what difference are you making? How are you using your gift, your talent, your skill, your time? What are you doing to make things happen and moving the needle forward in the direction you want it to go, even with where things are right now at the time of this recording? So we're just here to have a conversation and to give, just a few moments, and making sure that you are healthy holistically, and that your mental health is sound, because everything that's going on absolutely impacts your mental health. So if that's the case, and making sure that we're focused on our totality of ourselves, mind, body, and spirit, at least right now with our time, we're making sure that you are attended to with your mental health, because everything really does stem from the mentality. Everything that's going on really stems from the way that we think, because the way that we think determines how we behave. We could change the behavior all day long. And Danny, you have to go nowhere. You're good. We're going to attend to our mental health. We can attend to our body, like we're comprised of three things: mind, body, and spirit. We can attend to one, but if we don't attend to the other two, then we're not a whole self. And so everything in terms of making sure that our mental health is sound and sane and secure, it's our job and it's our honor, it's our privilege to really be of support to you and making sure that your mental health is a-okay. Because at the same time, at the end of the day, you could change your behavior, but if you haven't changed your mindset, then you're going to remain the same. You're going to still have the same narrative. You're going to still find yourself doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So use this time and this platform, everyone, to take full advantage of our time, our expertise. Just have your opportunity. Any questions or comments that you have that we can be of most assistance to you, best assistance to you, put it in the comment section. We are pretty much at your service, and to make sure that we all work together towards the common goal. And that is to make sure that we're better than we were today, making sure that we're better tomorrow. So what I wanted to do was share real quick the comments that y'all have shared with me. And when Danny decides to come back, my partner in purpose here, I love how Danny Robinson is my co-host with Advancing in Adversity, and she brings such a wealth of information. She always gives us the news of what's going on. So if she comes back, I'll let her take care of that part. I do want to share with you just an encouragement, what things you have shared here in regards to your 2020. Is this your year? So Burrell said it. He was like, oddly enough, it's better. This last 6 months is better than it was last year, the first 6 months of last year. So some people have shared, and I thank you for sharing, because sharing is caring. So make sure y'all share this out. So Tara has said that, she's gotten a new and accomplished a major house project in 2020, so she can't complain. Thank you, Tara, for sharing. Let me see. Antoine, who was our special guest last time in talking about hashtag the talk. I hope that y'all enjoyed that. He was talking about how to talk to our children about racism and police. So y'all make sure that y'all check out the replay on that. He shared about the 2020 year. I said, look, do y'all still believe that this is y'all year, 2020? He said, yes, I still believe. It ain't over yet. It has certainly deepened my faith. Who can say that? Has 2020 strengthened your faith? Has it deepened your faith? Where did 2020 take you? Because a lot of time, as I said earlier, we're always thinking from one aspect. And because our focus, our meditation is on that, we want to get more of it. We want to see and find things that's going to justify our focus and our thoughts. But if we shift it and look at what is the thing that we want to see happen, what are the results that we want to see, we will also get more of that. So it's just a matter of deciding where do you want to put and meditate your focus on. So let me see. I love what Brandon said, and I thank you, Brandon, for sharing this. Brandon has said in regards to the 2020 year, and this is all just to encourage you all. You may be at a place where it's understandable. How you feel is how you feel. You're valid with how you feel. If you are still at a place like, look, that sounds great, Dr. Sarah, but because but seems to nullify everything else before that. That sounds all good and dandy, to be hopeful, but look, reality is I have bills to pay. I lost a loved one. I don't know where my next meal is coming from. I just don't know. I'm all out of sorts. I just don't know where to go with everything. I'm at my wit's end. That is where you are. And it's okay. It may not sound like it's okay, but it's okay to not be okay. We have shared that as well. That is where you are, and it's okay. You have to acknowledge that, admit that, accept it for what is, so that now you allow yourself to release it away by meditation, by prayer, by journaling, by talking. If you ever need to reach out to us, feel free to do that in terms of having talk therapy. It's just a matter of being able to be at a place to recognize where you are, to release, and then that will allow these answers, encouragement to ensue in your life, such as what Brandon has said. He said that, regarding the 2020 year, despite of all the stuff that's going on this year, I can still say that it's been a great one for me. COVID-19 was, while dangerous, has always or had allowed me more time to spend with my family. It has confirmed what I already know about my wife and kids, which is that they are the most important people in my life. Personally, I've lost 40 pounds and discovered so many helpful things about myself through therapy. Go ahead, Brandon. That's a plug for therapy, y'all. Therapy works, mental health therapy. I'm excited about the second half of the year. That is so awesome. So look, if you're at a place where you just don't know about 2020, and I tell you the truth, that's where I was at one point. I was like, I just don't know about 2020, y'all. But at the same time, it's not over until it's over. And we are here for those who are watching, who's watching the replay. Look at it from a place of thankfulness and gratitude that you are here. This is very deep, what I'm about to say. At the end of the day, I had some time to reflect. I shared just not too long ago regarding what I was dealing with in terms of reaction versus responding. And I sat and reflect. It was a decision that I made, and I was acting like the victim, y'all. Lafayette, thank you for tuning in. Christopher, thank you everybody who are tuning in. I was acting like the victim, and it's called a parallel process. So the parallel is where we see many people, non-whites, non-white people, and not every single white person, but we have noticed where the shift in regards to victimization, they feel victimized. They feel like, everyone's beating on them, beating them up because they didn't realize how deep racism was or the white privilege and all that. But then it's amazing how the more that we keep being exposed to what's going on social media, in the media, we tend to parallel or take on that same type of persona without realizing it. It's just a powerful thing that we have to talk about another time. But that's just how the mind works, the psyche works. So for me, being exposed to a collective of everything, just as a therapist, talking to everyone, Blacks, whites, people of color. And then at times I'm finding myself feeling like the victim in certain situations. I do know that playing victim really doesn't get you far or get you anywhere. Have your moment to feel victimized, and then after that, shake yourself, come to yourself, and then say, okay, what do I do different to get a different result? And so I had a moment of feeling like the victim. And I'm not saying that that's just not a shame either, in terms of, where we are is where we are. We have a moment for every single situation. The moment for me was feeling like the victim because of a decision that I made. And in that decision, I had to realize, I had to come to myself and say, you know what? I made a decision. I'm not going to call it as a poor or a good decision or whatever. It felt like it was a really bad situation. In all essence, it was a bad decision that I made. But I had to own it. I had to take ownership to it. I had to accept. So these words, I hope that this is hitting you all, and apply it for any situation that you have experienced. This is helping you to advance in adversity, because a lot of times we're just trying to change behaviors. We're just trying to avoid. We're just trying to, just shake each other and say, look, just get over it, or shake each other and say, look, stop the madness, just make it different, make it better. But all of that, how is that serving you? Things are still happening the way that they are. So that may mean that it's not so much about you trying to change everything, but it may mean you having to change yourself. The world changed when you change, when you start to change. And changing in the sense of identifying where are the hangups, or where are the areas of improvement that you can make, so that you can see it in a different light. And when you see it in a different perspective, you'll be drawn, and it draws to you. You'll attract what is necessary to result or to produce exactly what you desire to have happen. So to tie it all in, I made a poor decision today, but instead of beating myself up based on my words saying that it was poor, because when I think of poor, I made a poor decision, then I feel bad, I feel guilty. So I'm just trying to show you a pattern of what you can do in your time of reflection the way that you speak to yourself, the way that you think of yourself plays part with your image and your esteem. So if you're always criticizing yourself and you're acting like that's a joke, you're just joking around, you're just trying to, be funny or whatever, or minimize or downplay yourself, it's amazing what you're telling your subconscious. Your subconsciousness, you're telling yourself that you're not as important like other people, that you're not as good as other people when you're comparing yourself and you don't even realize it. So you got to be mindful of your own words to your own self. You have to be mindful and become aware of how you think of yourself, when it comes to other people or just how you feel about yourself. You have to identify and locate where you are. And that's why, again, it always plays part to start from the beginning. How are you feeling? Who are you becoming during this time? Who do you want to become during and after this time? How is this time serving you? What are you learning in the midst of all of this? You should write those questions down and use at least 5 minutes each day of your time to ask yourself those questions and allow yourself the answer to come out. So then you can know and locate what areas of improvement to work on. I made a decision. I rendered it as a poor decision initially. And because I rendered it as a poor decision, all I focused on and meditated on was everything else that I made poor decisions on. So misery loves company. Then I came to myself. I decided, that big word, decide. I decided I no longer wanted to feel this way. I said, you know what? And the only way I'm going to decide to not feel this way is to accept what I decided. And I tell you the truth, Michelle, I tell you the truth. What helped me was the shift in the perspective. I used the time for 5 minutes to reflect on me accepting my decision. And here's the deep part of it. And I'm sharing this with you so that when you take your time in learning how to advance in adversity, it starts with yourself. It's about building yourself, your character, your attitude, your position, your posture, your perspective. How do you build any of that though, unless you know your position, your stance, your posture, your attitude, your views? Do you know them like you think you do? I welcome you and invite you to really explore a little bit more. If you don't know how, that's exactly why I'm here, to help you and guide you through the process. You can always reach out to me. You can always inbox me so we can have that conversation to see how I can best support you and serve you. You're not alone. When I had decided to shift the perspective, to say, you know what? I made that decision. I own that decision. I accept it. It was amazing how the answer came. It was like a moment of clarity, a moment of growth. That's really what this is all about as well. Again, this is not, if we can really take our mindset or our focus off of what is going on, be vigilant and sober, be aware of what's going on, but to really look at it, what does this mean to me? What does this mean to you? What does all of this mean? When you're able to really stop and reflect, identify what you really think and feel about the situation, like really putting words to it, and then put you in a position to know what to do. I tell you the truth, when I made that decision to shift my mindset to accept and to acknowledge and to own my stuff, growth came, awareness came, cultivation came. I was like, you know what? I made that decision, I own it. And now I decide on what I want to see happen. And I tell you the truth, y'all, here's the bottom line of all that I said today. Here is the coup de grace. Wow. We have always seemingly been duped. And I'm not just saying us as a people, as Black people, I mean, just into the totality of it all. We have believed that everything in life is supposed to be hunky-dory, perfect, pretty, sweet, kind. Everything is always supposed to work out in our favor. Everything is supposed to be perfect and right for us all the time. And my God, we go into a hissy fit. We throw tantrums when things don't go our way because we never either allowed ourselves to really experience Well, what do you do? What do we do when there's a situation that isn't perfect, that it doesn't work our way? And then we don't know how to handle it. We don't know what to do with it. Is that not what's going on in this parallel process today at the time of this recording? Because now we took the wool over people's eyes, probably over America's eyes, to see the truth, to see what really is really happening. None of us, no one wanted to see anything like this. No one. We want to pretend, act as if it's opposite of what really was, what really is. And now no one knows how to handle it because of the fact that there's no more hiding, there's no more covering up, there's no more of any of that. And we never taken the time to know, well, what to do. How do we handle this now? So it's a crash course. This is how we're going to learn. Sometimes it is a sink or swim situation. And at this point, because of the fact that we didn't put time to really learn, we're going to learn today. And that's why looking at many people's comments, looking at various posts, throughout, not so much throughout the day, but when I do, and this, again, I'm always trying to see what is the theme, what is the commonality of what people are saying, like what is the one major thing that is coming from this post, from this whole entire thread. The matter becomes is that we are looking for, in all respect, we are looking for a change. Maybe not, it's different. Maybe the perspective is different in terms of what type of change we're looking for from one person versus the other. But nevertheless, we are looking for a change. We are looking for something different. And it is a matter of using this time and opportunity to first start with ourselves. For things to be different, we have to be different. We have to change. It's not about anything outside of ourselves. Everything that we need and we want and desire is within ourselves. And this situation, my friend Charmel, I'm going to shout you out, Charmel. She in good fashion, in Aquarian fashion, fellow Aquarius, she left a whole dissertation as far as like her answer about 2020, which was amazing. You had to go in my post to see what she had posted. But to summarize what she said, has 2020 not been good to us? Pretty much. Has it not lent its way to really, at the end of the day, develop us, cultivate us, grow us? That everything that seemed to be negative may play part with our positive. The decision that I made earlier, when I made the decision to accept and own what I'd done, and then the whole thing came to play in terms of I had to go through a whole process. I had to go through being sad, being mad, being happy, being upset, to come full circle. That is what I wanted to leave with you guys. Life isn't going to be perfect, right? We say that in theory. It's amazing. We say that in consciousness, but in subconsciousness, what are we really saying? It's really our subconsciousness that dictates and drives everything. It's on autopilot. A lot of times, like it's kind of like when we'll say, Charles will say, well, the thing that I don't want to do, I keep doing. I want to leave, that woman alone. I want to leave that alcohol alone. I want to go to the church more. I want to tithe more. I whatever it is that you say that you want to do, but you find yourself not doing it. You don't know why. Because consciously you're aware of what you want to do, but subconsciously you're on autopilot. Your conviction of what is driving your subconsciousness is playing the role. So it's like you're, for the point, it's like you're a slave to your own subconsciousness. The only way that you're going to change it is to first bring it to consciousness. How do you do that? You start to take the time to reflect. You start to come to know yourself. You start to use time, 5 minutes out of your day, every day, to pray, to meditate, to find out what you're thinking, to write it down, to journal. Free association. Free association just means to allow your thoughts to have its way without you questioning, without you finding it silly or wrong. You just write. And you'll be surprised what came from out of your mind. But a lot of times people don't want to do that because they don't want to know what's in their mind and what's in their hearts. So this is for, for the grown and sexy. This is not for the faint of heart. This is for the ones who are really serious about how they want to dictate their tomorrow. So if you want to advance in adversity, this stuff here, It's a real deal. This is what you do. You decide, you come to know who you are, you take the time to reflect, you own your stuff, you accept and admit your error, but also being able to admonish or to boost up yourself, to help with your self-esteem so that you can change your mindset. The way that we change our subconsciousness is finding out what our thoughts are, but then also replacing it with new thoughts and let that be on autopilot. You repeatedly do it over and over and over. That's exactly what happened with your current thoughts. You were doing it over and over and over and over and over until it became second nature. It became a part of you. So what you learn, you can unlearn. This is what we talked about in terms of racism. Racism is not a disease. I'm not going with that. We're not going with that one. Bleak, we're not going with that. Racism is not a disease. We're going to talk about that when we bring our policemen on or police officers on. We want to have this conversation and talking about this. So y'all stay tuned for that one. But racism is not a disease. We're not going to use that to excuse any behavior, to justify anything. And everybody's going to run with that and say that, I got a mental health illness. It's in the DSM. I have a disease, so therefore I need to be excused. No. Oh, I need medication for this. No. What we've learned, we can unlearn to learn now, right? So make that decision. Come to know who you are. Get to know who you are. What are the thoughts and feelings they're telling you? Change doesn't happen until you make change of yourself. Don't worry about trying to change everything around you. Start with yourself. At the end, allow yourself to go through a process full circle so that now, at the end of the day, you are truly developing yourself and cultivating and growing accordingly. It's not about being half full or half baked at all anymore and trying to live life the way that you feel like it should be. Actually, your perspective may be skewed. It may be limited. So it's time to have a full picture of life beyond what you think life is. As we all see, we all seem to have a different perspective when it comes to certain things. I think it's about now taking time. Before trying to understand anyone else, we need to understand our own selves, our own perspective, our own views, our own attitudes, our own norms, our own philosophies. There's so much more to us than we really realize. And here is the perfect opportunity. Brandon, I read to you earlier how 2020 has been good to him and what he realized at the end of the day, what mattered most to him. I read to you what Tara has said, what mattered most to her and what things she was getting to accomplish. Most of you, when I post that question, you all had said pretty much that 2020 is your year, even in the midst of everything that's going on. Y'all hold on to that. That's a word of encouragement. You hold on to what you want to see tomorrow. Focus on what you want to see happen. Focus on what you want to see happen as a result, so that now your whole self can start working on it and attract and draw you towards what is necessary to make that result a reality in your life. Just remember that life has to happen full circle. There are no shortcuts. So let's stop this talk about hacking things and trying to, break codes and everything like that. That sounds cute, but sometimes it just really doesn't really help us. Such as, I don't know about you, Trinice, hey, how you doing? Hope all is well with you. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I don't know if this is you, but this whole thing with the emojis or the, using like a couple of words, I'm not trying to, hate on any generation right now because, my generation, I mean, some of us in my generation, we actually are doing it, but sometimes I'm like, okay, so we don't even say the word because anymore. Like we took out the BE and now we say cuz, or I don't know, trying to shortcut things. Well, it seems cool and it's convenient and it's fast and it's quick. Sometimes it may leave us at a deficit and we don't realize it. So just be mindful for your own self, what works best for you, and count the cost, but also count the benefits in it. Allow yourself to go to advance in. Allow yourself to go through this whole thing. And what I mean by that, as we wrap up to a close, allow yourself to experience. Experience can be your best teacher. If you don't allow yourself to go through life the way that it has been intended, for you, because one thought, one seed I want to plant in your mind is that life is really designed to help you. We justify and say that, oh my God, life is a mess. This world is going to hell. It's just going in shambles. Why are we going backwards? It's where our focus on. When we say that, we can locate where your focus is on. When those who have said, you know what, 2020 is my year, we know where their focuses are. Like their focus are on tomorrow, a result that they're looking for. And they use the time to stop and not always look at what was negative, but they actually looked at it from a positive perspective. They said, you know what? Now I have more time with my family. Now I have more time to get projects done. Now I created some businesses and I'm ready to take the world by storm. I just leave this as an encouragement for you on how to advance in adversity, how you can truly turn this into your year. Respectfully, attempt to not look at everything from a negative space and place or doom and gloom, but rather look at it as life actually is working for you, not against you. Everything is assigned and appointed. Everything, even our time on this earth. We need not focus on how we're going to check out of here or who's the next casualty or what is the next death, because see, that's when I've seen in these posts and threads have been the argument. Many have focused on the looting and the rioting and the lives lost, as a result of the protesting and things like that, but missing out on the fuller picture that with change, especially the type of change that we all are looking for, will be at a cost. It will be at a cost. And while we may not want it to be at a cost, it's at a significant cost. If you look at life and how life is, that is what happens. It's like the sacrifice for life to happen, a sacrifice for an ending, for the result of a beginning, a new beginning. So all I'm saying is, please, in your time of advancing in adversity, your mindset, that is your greatest asset. Make sure that you protect it and preserve it, but allow yourself to grow and to cultivate. And by doing that, you have to allow yourself to advance in adversity so that at the end of the day, you find opportunity in every single difficulty, no longer finding difficulty in every single opportunity. So I thank y'all for your time. I thank you for joining me. If you found value in this video, please share it. You can like it, that's awesome, but let's move this forward. Share it, because sharing is caring, and you never know, you just might save a life in the process. So look, let this year be your year. It's not over until it's over. You dictate and you determine how you want this year to be. So do whatever you're doing now to make a world of difference tomorrow. This is Dr. Sarah Renee Langley. Thank you so much for your time. Y'all have a great one, and look forward to talking with you all next time. Have a great one.